The Kiana Dancy is actually going to be sitting down with our in-house writer, Dom Smith, to talk a little bit more about this because, as you know, Dave Chappelle was backstage and she was there with him, so we'll get some details on that. When we come back, we'll see how that goes.
This isn't your first time seeing Chris Rock's set. What was your reaction to watching, the live taping, especially compared to, you've seen those jokes before?
You know what? It wasn't my first time. I saw him in Atlanta. I traveled with him to Charleston. And then, of course, I saw the taping in Baltimore. So it was kind of like the run-up, the practice games. And then here's the championship game, which is actually the taping of Netflix. It was phenomenal. Just to watch him, how he was doing the shows prior, his retweaking, his writing, his editing. And then for him to see the final show, it was fantastic.
That's dope. And because you were familiar with the material, did you predict any of the outrage that was, that's come out now?
Well, I kept thinking, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna keep this. I wonder if he's gonna keep that. I've even offered, like, say this instead of that or whatever. I don't know if I can get any credit for anything that he's done on his special, but there was definitely some things that I thought that he was going to keep in that he took out and vice versa. I would tell you, the night of the show, it seemed like he was in a different place. He was very focused. Very, very, laser focused. There was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of media in the room, a lot of supporters in the room. And then they got to the point where they were like, everybody out. So he was really focused on just delivering this, with flawlessly. And even though, I noticed some things that was not perfect. It was still, you had to have seen it set before to really know what was changed or if there were any balls at all dropped.
We saw Dave was also in attendance backstage at the Chris Rock show. Did Dave give any support for Chris that night?
I don't know if he had any one-on-one words with Chris prior to performing, but it was a lot of people in the room. Dave Chappelle was in the room. Spike Lee was in the room. Sam J was in the room. Kiana Dancy was in the room. We all were in the room supporting him, being there, lifting him up. But it was also a lot of people that you guys have never, ever heard of. A lot of industry people, upper executives from Live Nation and different agents. Steve Levine, who is Joan Rivers' agent. There was amazing people in the room that you just did not know who they were. John Laster, who's a comedian out of New York. After the show, there was a lot of one-on-one with Dave. He got on the mic at the after party and was like, man, you killed it. And, they had been on the road together, I think over 100 shows together all over the world. And this was the run-up. They were prepping. Well, Chris was prepping for his live special. So, I think Dave essentially was very proud of Chris. He was very supportive of Chris. He was in the room he could have been anywhere, but he showed up to support Chris Rock do this live taping. And I wouldn't have missed it either. So I believe wholeheartedly that, they're friends, they care about each other, they love each other. And I'm sure many times Chris have run some material past Dave and vice versa.
So for the past year, you've opened up for, both Chris and Dave. So what have you learned from them opening up?
So I've opened for Dave, not Chris. I was in the room there. He was at the Atlanta Comedy Theater this couple months ago working on his set. So let's just make sure that's on record, as clear. I learned so much watching them. Let me tell you something. Dave and Chris are very different in the way that they create. But they're still very meticulous. Chris is analytical. He writes, he postcards and moving around. It's a whole, just like in the beginning of the special, you saw him going through it, writing it and changing it, And it's just interesting to watch him work because I'm not that meticulous. I find my material sometimes on stage. I'm like, ooh, that's good. And then I go put it in a text, or I write it on the phone clip, or write a little voice note. But I'm not that meticulous. But that might also be why Netflix haven't offered me a $40 million bag. So I think one of the things that I learned specifically from them both is own whatever you say. If it's how you feel, how you feel. When that man said he thinks the women have the right to have an abortion up until the kid is 4 years old now, and we know what he meant. Right? It was with humor. It was funny. I don't think he necessarily mean that women can go throw their kids off of the bridge at 4 years old. But what he was essentially saying was, women have the choice whether you're going to be pro or pro-life, whatever your decision is. It's up to you, women. It's your body. And same for Dave. Dave says a lot of things that makes us say, ooh. But guess what? It's his opinion, it's his material, and he owns it.
Definitely.
So listen, I really don't like when people say something and then come back and apologize. No. Do all that thinking before you say it out your mouth so that you won't have to go back and apologize. Because 9 times out of 10, what you say, somebody is going to be offended.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be offended about something because that's just life. Everybody's so sensitive. They're always in their feelings. Everybody's always crying and whining. It's just a mess. So just be ready to know that you're going to offend somebody and just own it.
Mm-hmm. It's just jokes.
It's just jokes. And you know, sometimes jokes can hit hard and they can be nasty and they can be mean and they can hit below the belt. But again, when you say it, you own it. Don't start backpedaling because now you got negative energy or negative press about it. Own it. Make sure you guys follow me at Kiana Dancy on all social media platforms, including TikTok. And Kiana Dancy is also on my website. Get my book. Don't forget to get my journal. I love you guys. Y'all take care, okay?
That was a great segment with Dom Smith, sitting down with the Kiana Dancy. You know, it's always great having her on the platform. So I appreciate being able to have that part of the conversation.